Hey, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with Legacy Death and Taxes. Legacy Death and Taxes was my first ever Legacy deck. I played it for a bunch, probably about 4 or 5 years. Had some really good success with it. Won a local on a weekend. I think my best overseas finish was I came first in the Super Sunday Legacy tournament at GP Shizuoka with Legacy Death and Taxes. And 14th at the London PTQ, which was Legacy, which is pretty cool. It's a deck that I really enjoy playing. Obviously, there's a lot of a lot of similarities between this and Maverick, but I did get the itch to play some Death and Taxes tonight, so I thought, why not stream it and see how it goes. This is a pretty stock list. The one card that I have always hated, I have never really liked, is Serra Avenger, but recently I've found it's just been doing a lot of work as just obviously the death part of the deck, which is nice, but having a 3/3 in the air with Vigilance has been huge, especially locally against decks like Delve with Young Pyromancer, any True Name Nemesis decks, any decks where the ground just gets a little bit boarded up. Serra Avenger has been phenomenal. So although it really is just a vanilla 3/3, it's been really good, and it's been impressive enough for me to try it out on the online meta and see how it performs. I've got it as a 2 of because I do want to see it. You can't find it with Recruiter, of course, but it is tough. D&T is obviously a deck that you can tune very well for a meta, especially with Recruiter of the Guard. You can, maybe instead of Serra Avenger, you could add another Spirit of Labyrinth, and then maybe another Revoker, or something else. I saw Stonecloak the other day, which is pretty cool, but yeah, other than that, pretty stock. I'm a huge fan of a pretty clean mana base. I think D&T can really fall behind if you do have an average mana base. Cards like Mishra's Workshop, the Horizon Canopy, which are fine lands, especially in the right build, but especially in this build where I am wanting to just hit my 3 white sources or 2 white sources early on. I do want to maximize the amount of basics I do have. And Flagstones isn't really a card I consider that can be wastelanded. So I do just have Flagstones instead of the 12th planes, mainly because it does interact really well with Cataclysm, but that's about it. Hey Wolf, welcome. I hope you're well. The sideboard, 2 Cataclysms, huge fan of this card, especially back with Bant Miracles. Really enjoy it. Gideon, I've always just really enjoyed as a one-off, as a different axis for the deck to attack on. The +1/+1 effect is great. Making dudes is great, especially in a Stoneforge Mystic deck. Even as a 5/5 threat, it's really nice. I do have a game on my YouTube where it was pretty cool. I got to create Gideon into a 5/5 attack and then Cataclysm post combat, keeping Gideon as my creature, which is kind of cool. But usually it's kind of weird to see a Planeswalker in a Cataclysm deck because if you do have the Gideon out first, it's a little bit rough. But I assume that I'm going to get a lot of value out of all of these if they do make it off the stack. Council's Judgment, just a really nice way to interact with anything from opposing Jidays to Delver to True Name Nemesis to Planeswalkers. Huge fan of Council's Judgment. I was going to run an extra Path to Exile because I might want the extra removal spell against a fast deck like Delver or other Mother of Runes decks where I just think that Mum is a better resource than the extra land they get off Path, but decided to have the 2 Council's Judgments as kind of just a just in case, but also just a really nice way to make sure I can have an answer to most permanents. Graveyard Hate, I've just broken it up between 2 Breast and Beast and 2 Surgical. Both have their pluses. Surgical pretty nice against decks where I don't want to bring in the Rest in Pieces, but Rest in Peace really solid against Hogak, lands. Surgical a little bit better against Black Red Reanimator because it is faster, but Rest in Peace still obviously quite a good spell against Reanimator. And then for combo we have 2 Mindbreak Traps, Sanctum Prelate as a second copy, and then 2 Canonist. I was thinking about Deafening Silence because it is turn 1 interaction against combo like Storm and Ant, but I really think that you need to be flexible with your sideboard sometimes, and seeing the uptick in Elves, which already is a pretty poor matchup. I wouldn't say Canonist is specifically for Elves, but it's nice that it does have that crossover where Deafening Silence doesn't. Even a deck like Hogak, I'll probably bring in Canonist as well, just to make sure they can't go too quickly out of the gates. Also, just being a creature, it's really nice to make sure that in a deck like Death and Taxes, you have a good mix between creatures that disrupt and apply pressure, and also permanence. So Deafening Silence fantastic because it's a turn 1 play against combo, which D&T doesn't really have, but at the same time it doesn't apply pressure, so you can't just rely on the Deafening Silence to get you the win. You need to make sure that you're attacking your opponent's life total, and that's exactly what Canonist does. At the extra mana, it does line up well against a variety of decks, and it does both disrupt and pressure, which is cool. Why is Mindbreak Trap better than Silence? Mindbreak Trap is mainly there to make sure I have some game against the fast combo decks on the draw. But yeah, Deafening Silence could definitely be in here over the Mindbreak Traps. The Mindbreak Traps and the Surgicals are mainly so I have some amount of disruption against decks like Black Red Reanimator or Ant or Tess on the draw, where I don't get the turn 1 play, and maybe my opponent tries to go off as soon as possible, being turn 1. But yeah, you could definitely put Deafening Silence in the same slot as Mindbreak Trap. This deck can't cast Mindbreak Trap. There's no like Tundras or anything, so yeah, good observation. Hey Wolf, thank you very much. I played another challenge and we went with a 3-4 finish, but some pretty close games with Green-White Maverick. Definitely felt like I missed the power of the splash, but Green-White's still a pretty solid deck to play in any legacy legacy challenges right now. Let's do this. Let's play. That's what I'm here for. Hope you're all well. We're playing a Legacy League with 2021 Death and Taxes using play points. Nice. Change screens. Very cool. We'll play Legacy League. I'm going to quickly update this stream with the Cardboard Live functionality so you guys can see the deck list as well. Hey Jack, welcome. I did not see the Modern Horizons 2 leaks, but I would be very interested to know them, and hopefully chat is as well. What's broken, Jig? Yeah, I feel like Modern Horizons 2 has some stuff. Recruiter of the Guard and Prelate leaked into Modern, apparently. Interesting. I wonder if Recruiter of the Guard does anything for the green-white deck playing Heliod and like Walking Blister and Spike Feeder, or if it's too slow. Hey Ted, welcome. I hope you're well. But those are some pretty good cards for something like Modern Death and Taxes. Hey Ted, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. Hey Jade. Leaks are the question, yeah. Yeah, Eldumri's Call is a very interesting card. I do like some of the versions that play Vile and Eldumri's Call as ways to get creatures into play straight away. I think Jeff, who was working on Espavile, was playing it for a while. It's a pretty fantastic hand. I couldn't really ask for more. The second Vile, a little bit redundant, but if it gets countered, then we have a second one to keep, so pretty happy with this. You're from France and play Death and Taxes and Tess? Very cool. What's the legacy scene like in France, Ted? I know that Paris is the home of the Bazaar of Moxon, I believe. I had a good friend, Brocci, go to that tournament a few years back and play some Legacy and I think Vintage. Not too sure what this opponent's on. His hand is a little bit weak to combo, but we'd have the Recruiter to find something like Thalia or Prelate, which is nice. I am sadly not coming down for Eternal Masters. I have a festival on. Okay, interesting. Which takes up that time. But Eternal Masters will be very cool. This is actually interesting because I haven't played too much D&T, especially the Mirror, since Skyclave has been printed. So answers to Jit in the main deck are actually quite abundant. Sarah Avenger is a fantastic draw. And I think you actually just want to go with Stoneforge into Jide. and then try to get that going. What's the festival? It is Full Tilt. I think you're going. I think you're going, Wolf. I would expect you to go. My girlfriend got me tickets for my birthday, which is really nice. So we'll be going there on the Saturday. Alright. Haha. Hey, Adrian. Welcome. Yeah, Sarah Avenger's been really impressive. I think Sarah is pretty old. A Swords on the Stoneforge is more than fine. It's done its role. And it's a pretty aggressive way of using Swords to Plowshares. I'm a big fan of keeping Sword, either for Mother of Runes or an equipped creature in this matchup. So pretty happy for this to go. Maybe my opponent thinks we already have Batterskull, but... my opponent not having an answer for my mum now is pretty huge. Alright. Get to put in Mother of Runes, which is fantastic. Maybe the one reason to use the Swords to Plowshares there on the Stoneforge Mystic is if my opponent thinks I'm playing Charming Prince, which is a card that's seen a little bit of play. You can't decide between Eternal Masters and Full Tilt. That's a hard one. I think here I'd rather get the Jide in play than play the Sarah Avenger. It means that my opponent only has 2 cards left, so they have to either find Land Skyclave or Recruiter or Revoker. But I think Jide here is fine with Sarah Avenger up. Vial goes to 1. Another Vial. That's more than fine. Wow, and I'll miss land drop. Getting to the stage where I kind of want to recruit it for a Revoker. But getting down Sarah Avenger here is really nice. And this is exactly where I want it, where the board is clumped up with something like Mother of Runes, and usually I'd either have to put the Mum in a pretty awkward spot, or go at it. So here's an interesting choice. I can keep it at 2 or go to 3. I'm definitely using 2 mana for the Jit equip. I think the answer is probably just a 2. Especially seeing my opponent hasn't found a Karakas yet. The Thalia is actually not the worst. So it's also going to attack effects down the line, but... Put Vial to 3 and turn off the Vials? Yeah. That's pretty strong as well. Especially with the Mum already in play on my side. I think that's better than attacking with the Jedi this turn. Especially seeing we already have the advantage of the air. I'm pretty happy here. Just try to ride this Sarah Avenger to victory. And again, I've got a lot of value out of this Aether Vial, so I'm pretty happy to turn it off myself if I am hitting 2 of my opponents where they have been stumbling, so I assume they might have a 3-drop in hand that they're wanting to cast. Yeah, my board state is really nice. I think the first thing my opponent needs is another land into Skyclave to deal with the Jide, because even one hit and getting rid of their Mum is pretty huge. There's Karakas, so there's step 1. And it's just a Flickerwisp. Probably flickering... This is interesting. So because they didn't play a land last turn, I assume they drew it. So I don't think they have... I guess they only have 1 card left. So here I'm pretty happy just to get protection, because I can't have mana and removal. Put this on the stack and just say always no. Yeah, thankfully we had some pretty nice draws of just how this all sequenced. Taking my opponent off their third mana as well is pretty huge here. But I could also see second Mum being better. I think just because of Skyclave being the main card here. Yeah. Let's go sack this. I can give Pro, swing in, and then destroy both their creatures with Jide. Attack, Pro. Yeah, tough one. Pretty easy sideboarding. Part to Exile is fantastic. Council's Judgments are fine, and the Gideon's fine. I definitely want to take out my 4 Thalias, but I do also have Prelate, which is kind of a dead card and pretty irrelevant. I could see a Thalia staying in. Spirit of Labyrinth isn't great either unless they have the Monarch, but at least as a 3-1 beater, it's not the worst. It's really a case of, do I want to take out Prelate or do I want to keep it in for something like probably just a Thalia. The first strike is the only thing that's relevant, which isn't much. I think I'm pretty happy with this. And then if there's a game 3, we can make some decisions on how we want to change it up. Ooh, good coffee. Good coffee and pretty great hand. I'll keep this. Yeah, I've got some work to do after this, so I wanted to make sure that I could stay up a little bit later than usual. Batterskull, okay. Hey Jide, you are more than welcome. A huge thank you. That means a lot. I definitely have a lot to learn when it comes to commentary, but yeah, commentating on Channel Fireball for the Lands vs Maverick matchup with Anzi and that is going to pass here. Interesting. Okay. Achilles and Ali was really nice. This is fine. This is going up. Mum. Okay. Pretty nice. Now we have something to put in our file at the end of the turn. We will see if they put in a mother here. They don't. Interesting. Wasteland. I will float. Yeah, if anyone here wants to watch the Channel Fireball video, there it is. Wow, Mum survives. That's pretty huge. This is fine. A Plains here would be perfect. Port isn't too bad. I still just get a pass with Stoneforge up, and then we have Batterskull already in hand, so we can go get Jide, and then just have Batterskull up at instant speed, which is nice. Unless my opponent gets to cast Skyclave here, which would be pretty strong. Or at least put it in off the vial. I'm still going to use this. 100%. I assume they go after the vial. But I could see them going for the Mum. I didn't want to use the Mum to just open up as much option as possible. They vote for Stoneforge. Again, really interesting. I think that Stoneforge has done its role, that you shouldn't be too worried about it, but here we are. Ticking this up because getting this Flicker Wisp is huge. It means if we don't draw a land here, we can flicker the Vial. Funnily enough, we get Wasteland. Yeah, I think hitting my Vial as well is definitely a reasonable choice. It slows me down a heap. So here, I'm just going to pass. Go to my end step, see if anything happens. They're going to activate this. That's fine. Recruiter. Okay, I'll see what they get first. They go for Stoneforge. Okay. So here I want to take them off their Vial. Doing it in the end step so it comes back in their end step instead of having it on their turn. And then I'm pretty happy to... This is actually interesting. I could either Wasteland the Port, or I could just port them this turn, and then hope that I draw a land off the top and double attack with the Jide. I'm pretty happy just to port once. And hold up the Wasteland. Taking them off double white. This way, if they do just hold up port for my turn, I can Wasteland it in end step to make sure they can't port me off this white source. Stoneforge is fine. They get their own Jide, that's fine. Alright, Moment of Truth. Does this pay off? Violent stack, we'll keep this at 3. Hiya! No, but still a pretty nice pickup. So here we get to... I don't really want to swords anything yet, but there is merit to holding up Swords to Plowshares. Definitely attacking. And I might even just play the Jide here. Hold up Swords, hold up Skyclave. I'm not too scared of anything on board right now. I would rather make them make a move, like maybe Flicker Wisp, target the Recruiter, or something to that sort of play. But I think we're in a pretty fine spot. Especially head on Vial as well, has been really huge. If they wanted to be really aggressive, they could try to like Swords Mum, I tap it, play a land, play Jide, attack with Jide. But it looks like they're just going to go to end step. Okay. So my only thought here, I guess we don't care about Mum. My only thought here was if we untap and they tap down the plains, we then don't have mana for Swords to Plowshares if we don't draw a white source. So we can't deal with a Mum end of turn on our turn. But we have the Jide counters in the air, so we should be fine. So I am just going to pass here with both Skyclave and Swords up. This goes on the stack. It's a no. They should port. They don't port. That's really interesting. Didn't expect that. Well, I'm pretty happy to use port and plains to equip the Wisp. I wonder if they have like double swords. Disenchant, that's pretty good. We don't have a way to flicker it, so that's going to be okay. I do like taking them off Rishna Port. I'm not too sure why people are playing Disenchant. Obviously, like, Leonid Relic Water has its merits because it is a creature you can find with Recruit of the Guard, and it has great synergy with Flicker Wisp. It is hit by Torpor Orb, if that's a thing. Seal of Cleansing also has merit because it can be put in off a Show and Tell, and it can also be put in off, against decks like Pox, where they're hitting your hand pretty hard. So I'm not sure why Disenchant does get the nod of approval. This is fine. Batterskull, that's interesting. Okay. I wonder if they have Mum as well. They don't. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's a great one. Put in Seal, and then off the Show and Tell, put in like Recruit of the Guard, and in response to the trigger, blow up the Omni before they get priority. I'm still pretty happy with where we are. I could hit the Vial here, which is pretty interesting. But I do want a way to deal with... We have the Judgment. I kind of want to just allow them to have the Vial for now. This is going to be fine. Another Vial. Okay. Do they have a land? They don't. So they've actually turned off Return Batterskull, which is pretty huge. There's definitely a thought between keeping up Return Batterskull and playing the second Vial, and how important that second Vial is. Another white source would be great here to hold up swords and also cast the Council's Judgment. They're going to activate this now. Okay. That probably means Revoker? Thalia. That's actually kind of annoying, because we do have to draw a white source here, or use the Aether Vial. But here I'm pretty happy just to get rid of the Batterskull. And then we still have our Skyclave for the Jide. We know that Jide is in their hand. I just hope that the other card isn't Flicker Wisp, because Flicker Wisp off the Vial on 3 next turn would be pretty hard to beat. Yeah, my only thought for them keeping in Thalia is that they didn't have enough things to bring in. But a very interesting... I think I actually, just to play around Flicker Wisp, I think I just actually want to get rid of the Jide here. Just to make sure it's off the table. But yeah, typically I'd say that Thalia is probably one of the first cards you cut, but maybe my opponent didn't have more than 3 cards to bring in. They definitely brought in Disenchant and Council's Judgment. Could definitely try to blow them out. I kind of just don't want to use the Mum. I think that Mum's activation is so much more scary than the actual activation of Mum. Stoneforge, that's fine. But I can definitely see a point, Jack. Alright. Sort of fire nice. It's not like they brought in like a sort of War and Peace or Light and Shadow, which is nice. Another Skyclave is pretty awesome. So they have 2 cards in hand. One is sort of fire nice. I think I'm happy just to attack with the Flicker Wisp here and keep the Mum back. And then we have both Port and Swords to Plowshares up if anything goes wrong. They probably use the mana here to activate Stoneforge and put in the sword. No. Okay. Revoker. Okay. That's going to be fine. It's probably going to name Mother of Runes. I'd really love to see them try to Skyclave Mother here, or maybe try to untap and swords it. Or even attack. There's no great attacks, yeah. Okay. Still 2 cards. Let's just untap. The more information I can squeeze out of my opponent, the better. Another mum, okay. Well, we can attack for 3. It is a 4-turn clock, which is really relevant. Hey, Avis, thank you very much. A huge thank you, I hope you're well. This is interesting. I get to either hold up Port or play Mum. And I think I just want to play Mum and hold up Swords to Plowshares here. I'm going to put a Vial on 2. Okay. Yeah, I think getting second Mum online is so good when we have 2 ways to deal with Revoker. Spirit is okay. They have 1 card left and it's sort of Fire and Ice, so... The issue is if they draw a Flicker Wisp, if I put in Skyclave or try to Swords the Revoker first, they can respond to save it, and then I have to spend an additional resource on the same Revoker. So I think here I'm actually happy just to put in the Skyclave. Blowout is better, Jack. I'm definitely a little bit more conservative. There's probably also thought to just using the Swords to Plowshares instead because it is taxing me a bit, but... Yeah. I don't think the sword's going to connect. That's the big thing. Why do you not do all of this stuff in their attack phase? I was mainly doing it there to play around a draw of Flicker Wisp, so that I don't have to spend both the swords and the Skyclave to deal with the Revoker. Yeah, I think the sword's going to be tough to hit when I have both mums online, and I also have a 3-turn clock in the air. But there's definitely a pretty good feeling of wanting to blow them out. It's just not wanting to be on the end of a blowout that doesn't work out. Yeah, maybe my opponent was a little bit new. The aggressive Swords to Plowshares were interesting, especially on creatures that I don't really care about. Both games they swords the Stoneforge Mystic after I got Jit, but I don't think that Stoneforge by itself is that big of a threat. You're really wanting to keep your swords for things like Thalia or an attacking creature. Yeah, I think the only time I would think about swordsing a Stoneforge is if it's actually equipped and going to put me in a position where I do care about it. Always nice to play the mirror in game 1. Whew. How's the weather in Melbourne, Jack? Are you guys seeing a lot of rain as well? Rainy? Yeah. I also added a Zenith target to my rewards and challenges for channel points. So if you do get up to 25,000 points, you can have me play a specific Green Sun Zenith target in my next Maverick deck, which is pretty cool, I thought. Melbourne is always more you than... Yeah, okay. I like that. Oh, card Green Sun Zenith? Yeah, Green Sun Zenith is a fantastic card played in Legacy. I would say it's most known for Maverick, but at the same time, if people think of Green Sun Zenith, they might think of Elves first. Some might even... Haha, Green Suns doesn't target, you're correct. Nice. There we go. Up against Arc, and we are... probably keeping this. It's definitely an interesting hand. Triple Stoneforge is never really what I want, but turn 1 Mum into turn 2 Stoneforge with some mana denial up my sleeve is pretty nice. We'll see how it slides. I think I might mulligan this in a competitive tournament where I'm playing for a big prize, but for the fun of the stream and for learning purposes, let's see how it builds out. Hey Neely, welcome. I hope you're well. Hope the family is well. Hope you're getting a little bit of time to play some Maverick in your downtime, if you do have downtime these days. Misty Pass. Okay. 3 Stoneforge is perfect, yeah. I want to play the port to not show the Wasteland yet, because I want to see how my opponent fetches. Maybe they go for Jewels if they see the Rishna port, just to make sure they have all their colors at all times. Do you think D&T is better positioned than any Maverick variant right now? That's definitely an interesting one. They both have their benefits. I don't want to come across as too... what's the word? Like cookie cutter. I think Maverick's flexibility is a little bit better because you have Green Suns, which from early on you can pivot. So say you go turn 1 Mana Acceleration and you have a Green Suns in hand. If your opponent does like a Ponder start or a Preordained start, you might want to go for Teeg on turn 2. If they do something with the graveyard, you can go for Scavenging Ooze, so you can pivot in that way really well. But D&T just does what it does so well, which is always a tough one. This is pretty interesting. I could hold up Batterskull. I could be really aggressive here and port a Misty and see what they do. Because if they let it resolve, I could just Wasteland it. Because otherwise a Wasteland isn't doing a whole lot. But I think there's a lot more D&T players, I think. Especially competitive D&T players than there are Maverick players. And I think that's a big reason why D&T does put up results. But at the same time, I think D&T is just a really good deck. And it's pretty consistent. I think I am just going to hold up Batterskull. If it's something like Show and Tell, then it's pretty rough. But I think if it's Show and Tell, if I port the Misty, they go and get like a basic island. Doesn't really do anything. Yeah, I think play Waste and hold Skull, and then next turn I can be aggressive if I need to. But if it is like a bug control deck or something, then I do want to get a threat into play pretty early on. They're fetching now, which is interesting. Okay, this makes me think it's going to be a... Yeah. This makes me think it's going to be blue-green Omni. But it could also be just a bug control deck that's playing Icefang Quaddles for the snow-covered. Yeah, Waste in response to take away the shuffle effect is pretty interesting. Fetch, fetch, pass. So they tried to get out a pretty big amount of information before they cast the Brainstorm. Seeing a snow-covered island makes me think this Wasteland isn't going to be doing too much in this game, so it's really trying to understand what the role of Wasteland is in this game 1, because if my opponent is just on basics, then Wasteland is pretty much just a waste, not a Wasteland, so I don't mind this. Especially if my opponent's only so many cards away from the combo. If I can get any sort of lock going, then I'd be pretty happy. Yeah, it is going to be Blue-Green Omni. Now this is a tough one because Blue-Green Omni doesn't usually play any sort of accelerants. Some decks too do play like a number of City of Traders or Ancient Tombs, but they're not on the full 4-petal 4 Ancient Tomb kind of build. Hey, you finished 4-3 nearly? Very cool. Very nice. I'm sure that one day I'll be back on your lists. But very cool that you picked up my list. I think I can try not to lose the game by tapping the island here, but I think at the same time that doesn't put me in a position to win the game. So I do just want to try to put this Batterskull in, get a threat, and then start using Port. Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts. Maybe they have Intuition. Okay, well that's pretty big. Revoker, okay. Happy to put in the Wasteland and attack. I could attack with everything, but just in case it actually is a bug control deck and not Omni, I'm just going to keep attacking for 5. But it is tough because it does change the clock. But at the same time, I could get in for 6 3 times, but if they're going to fetch, it puts them to 12, so I still get 1 turn to see if I want to attack or not. Brainstorm. I think, again, I just have to stick with my plan of thinking that this is the role of Wasteland in this game. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a decent role. Is this Ice Finquoidal? Yeah, okay. This is actually an interesting spot because I can take them off Forest, but I think I just want to take them off one of their islands, so they can't Ponder and Ponder or Preordain in the same turn, or Ponder or Preordain into Show and Tell, unless they have another land. Which I assume they do, but I don't think that Snow-Covered Forest is all that relevant here. Yeah, pretty crazy for sure. Alright. Uro, okay. Uro is definitely going to be an issue. But at least it does turn on Swords to Plowshares a little bit more for game 1 than just our current plan. Oh, red as well. Okay. Okay. Well, now I'm definitely thinking this is more a mid-range deck. It could still be a Show and Tell deck, but seeing the Volk definitely takes me off that. I've definitely seen Uro in the new blue-green Omni lists, but I'm feeling like it's not Show and Tell. So I do want to attack with both. And probably just give Pro instead of using the sword and keep the sword for the Uro. They're actually not going to block. That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, I'm now thinking Food Chain, perhaps. It's really interesting that they didn't block. That either means that they want to draw into removal if they're playing it main deck to have it for the Mother of Runes because they feel they can take the damage here. But I could definitely see Food Chain being something here. I'm actually going to name it, because Food Chain for them is pretty solid. I guess we get to see if they want to force this first. They do. Pitching another Ice Fang. Okay. Interesting. Apanium, a very well played Food Chain player. Prismatic. Interesting. Prismatic probably tells me that they're not playing Mystic Sanctuary, which is nice. And I think in response to Uro here, in response to both triggers, I just want to play Swords to Plowshares. So if they don't have blue card but have Force, or have blue card but don't have Force, I don't want them drawing into it. And on the off chance that they're playing Karakas, I definitely don't want them putting it into play. Hey Dark Cloud, a huge thank you for the 12-month sub. That's very cool. Let me know if you have something you want me to play, and I'll definitely give it a good hustle, because 12 months is a really cool streak. A huge thank you. The challenge was fun. Obviously pretty late, but overall, yeah, really enjoyable. Went 3-4 in the Sunday challenge, which isn't great, but had some good times. Had some close games, which was nice. Jail is pretty nice, but not doing too much here. Any reason behind playing 2 Sarah Avenger main? Look, I am not a fan of Sarah Avenger, but I do like how well it allows Maverick to just keep playing on a board that's stalled by like Mother of Runes or Tune of Nemesis, or in this case Uro. I guess Ice Fang is a bit of an issue here, but I think it's good enough right now. It's pretty tough because Sarah Avenger is just a 3/3 for 2, but yeah, it's definitely a lot tougher than it was. Hey Frank, welcome. Yeah, just got a little bit of an itch to stream, so I thought, why not? This is a tough one, because Uro's gonna really take over this game if I don't find an answer. And I kind of need to deal with the Ice Fang as well. Hey Sterling. GeoGuessr was insane. We had some great GeoGuessr games. I mean, we had a round that was just insane. I'm going to quickly find it. Here. So this was our GeoGuessr round. We got under 500 meters away. Okay, over 500 Ks. This was still in Brazil. 39 meters, 72 meters, 7 meters. Crazy. Crazy. The ponder was a shuffle. Okay. I could triple block, but I think here I'm happy just to allow the attack. Triple blocking is kind of free, but then I lose the Batterskull most likely. I don't want to put the mum into a position where she just gets removed. I just want to draw into a land so I can hopefully Palace Jailer. But at the same time, I also don't mind just putting in Sword here to get rid of the Ice Fang first. Yeah, recasting Uro is also insane for them. What can they have here? Hey, JRE, welcome. I hope you will. Alright. I could go for them. Put them down to 4, and then they really need to find an answer for the ice. I think I just go for them here. Put them on a 2-turn clock, and just say you have to find an answer to this. Because we can still kill Ice Fang and Palace Jailer Uro next turn anyway. Yeah. Oh, they have Cunning Wish. Okay. A little bit of a yikes. Intuition. Okay. Hey Nathan, welcome. Hope you're well. Nathan Lepet's another very good Legacy streamer, if you want to check him out. Plays a lot of blue-white miracles, but also some other decks, which is very cool. They are playing Mystic Sanctuary in a Prismatic Vista deck! Come on! Come on! They're putting Ponder back on top. Okay, that's fine. Hey Nathan, what do you think of Blue-White Omni, I guess since the banning of Oko? I know you were putting up some really good results with it before that. They're going to attack, which is interesting. I wonder if they're just wanting to gain extra life by recasting the Uro. I think I just take this. Even though I can block for free, I think them gaining the extra life of recasting Uro is worse for me. I'd rather just keep them on that 1-turn clock. Yeah. U-White Omni is great right now? Very cool. Are you playing around with any, like, not fun-ofs, but cards that you really like? That, might not see play in other ones? Ugh. Yikes. Decklist is standard right now? Cool. They're gonna ponder. I wonder if they're trying to ponder into show and tell. If we can get this game, I'd be very happy. They chose to shuffle. That's pretty good for us. Nice. Very cool. So although we did find out that the Wastelands were pretty aggressive in the early turns, yeah, that was a nice one to get. This is going to be interesting. It's got a little bit of everything, which is kind of interesting. This is probably not a matchup where I want the Sarah Avengers, especially seeing Ice Fang Quirtle. Also just a little bit soft to any sort of combo. I don't need Revoker in this matchup either. Prelate 2 CJ 2 Aethersworn. Yeah. Aethersworn great against the OmniTell lines. CJ great against Uro. Prelate pretty nice against all of it. I think I'm going to cut down on... We took game 1 against... I'm going to call it 4 color. Yeah, I might just cut down on Plows. I still don't mind 2, either for Uro or for Ice Fang, just to make sure I can keep damage rolling. But otherwise, this seems pretty strong. Surgical's interesting as well, because they were playing Intuition. They're also playing Mystic Sanctuary, but I don't think that's enough to suggest that it's relevant enough. You would cut all of them? Interesting. I don't mind Surgical then. Especially seeing Intuition. It's not card disadvantage against Intuition, which is nice. Unless they cast the thing straight away, but usually they're doing it late game. Hey Damo, welcome. I hope you're well. Unfortunately, it's been a little bit wet for a ride, but I'm sure we'll go out cycling soon. Yeah, I don't mind Mindbreak. It's really between Mindbreak and Surgical. I think Surgical... I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. Yeah, I do like that it is somewhat graveyard hate, so we can hit their yard as a resource. This is a mulligan. Just a little bit rough. I can't just rely on the Vial here. And having both pieces of equipment is not really where I want to be. I'm pretty happy to mulligan to a hand of, like, maybe Plains Land Thalia Canonist? Huh. I got Plains. I got double port, but if I want double port, I really want Aether Vial. I could drop a Caracas here, but still not the greatest. Definitely seems weak. I think I need to keep a hand with at least some amount of pressure. Oof. Okay. Okay. I'll bottom the flagstones. Caracas is actually okay. I don't mind bottoming the plains here. And then probably the Flicker Wisp. I think Skyclave is just a little bit too good, especially against an Uro start, but I think this is it. Also down 3 minutes, so need to make up that time at some point. Yeah, this hand isn't too bad, especially if my opponent goes for basics early on. It's a little bit rough, but otherwise not the worst. Very interesting to see Prismatic Vista. Was actually very interesting to see Mystic Sanctuary in a Prismatic Vista deck. I didn't expect that. Library, okay. That's actually pretty interesting because if we draw a second white source soon, I kind of want to just hit the library with Skyclave. And Thalia is actually a fantastic draw because I don't want to wasteland just yet, especially seeing the library in play. Looks like they might force this. Pretty big win if they force this, because then they're probably not forcing the Skyclave, but we really need to draw a white source off the top. Okay, that's pretty nice for us. I guess we also have Spirit of the Labyrinth as a live draw against Sylvan Library, which is nice because it also pressures. They take one extra card. Fry. Okay. Can we find a white source? Deep breath. No. I think here, because the second Wasteland isn't doing anything for us in regards to casting our spells, I'm happy to Wasteland at least once. This definitely isn't a matchup where I care about days either, which is nice. Take another hit. Okay. Ponder, sure. Ponder is cast, opponent looks at 3, chose not to shuffle. This can definitely happen. Opponent obviously digging, paying with the Sylvan Library twice, Ponder keeping, which is interesting. Thank you, Jack. It will do something. It will do something. Fry is a really interesting removal spell. Can't be countered, deals 5 damage to target creature that's white or blue. Uro, okay. I probably just want to let this resolve. They didn't have a land, which is interesting. The worst thing would be to put it back in the hand and then they... I guess it wouldn't be, but it does give them a blue card. Yeah, it also kills Planeswalkers. Very cool card. Doesn't hit Uro. Yeah, that's a big one. Okay, that's definitely a start. Keeping up the Caracas for Uro. But Uro with Sylvan Library, really nice. Definitely a reason I want to play a little bit more with a deck like Maverick, but losing Oko definitely has hit the punch of the deck. One green. I wonder if they have engineered explosives. Brainstorm. Okay. Pass back. Activate the vial. Definitely no reason not to. Could be playing Dryad Arbor. Definitely makes my opponent think. Do they have Dryad Arbor? Sadly, I don't. Yeah, Stifle would be amazing. I guess one nice part of them not having 5 mana up here is that they can't go with they can't hardcast Force of Will here, which is pretty huge. Have I ever vialed in a Dryad Arbor? I haven't. I know that Brian Koval played a donation deck list recently that played both Vial and Green Suns, I believe. So he did get to Vial in a Dryad Arbor, but pretty cool. You put a Dryad Arbor in 7-point once? Very cool. Nice. I like that a lot. Opponent hit 2 fries. They've drawn, okay, an extra card here. Ponder, sure. I did not see that. Interesting. A Planeswalker that's a creature in your deck. I guess something similar is you can Green Suns for Clothis, or put Clothis in off Aether Vial even with a Containment Priest on the field, because it's not a creature in those areas. Twitter link. Price of Progress in Modern is hilarious. I do like Price of Progress. There's a lot of decks with a lot of shock lands. Come on, Jack. You can't talk about my pop like that. Opponent definitely finding the more grindy side of their deck. It does seem like a mid-range deck with a combo finish of Show and Tell, not so much a Show and Tell deck with a combo aspect that can win the game. And you can definitely tell that as well, because we were down, I think, 3 to 4 minutes after game 1. And now we're up a minute. So opponent's taken an extra 5 minutes just this game, which is pretty huge. And we're here activating vials. I mean, come on now. Hey, Jerry Freeman. Welcome. Welcome. Chat, I would love you to say hey to Jerry. One of the the Starwoods of Dukes on Twitch chat. Ah, not the one that I wanted. But that's not too bad. I'm not too sure what I care about with red, but I don't mind turning it off. Something like, is it Staticaster is pretty annoying down the line, if that's a sideboard card. I probably want to Caracas Uro. I'm just not sure when I want to Caracas Uro. Or what the prelates are naming. I think it's 1 and 3, and I think it's 3 first, but it's definitely interesting. Hey PJ, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Sylvan Library really strong here as well. They already have 7 cards in hand, so I'm not too sure how good the Skyclave is as my next play if this Vial does stay around. They go down to 5. Okay. Land, which can't get Mystic Sanctuary. Let's get that done. Pretty happy just to return Uro here. Just to save my life total a little bit. Play to time. Just get more out of my opponent. Maybe see if they play Stifle. I'm gonna try to do something. Yeah, it's very true. If I thought about this more, I should definitely have let them not attack and just done it at the beginning of upkeep. Yeah, that's just a clear misplay. Yeah, beginning of combat is definitely the best. Opponent doesn't have the fastest clock. Okay. Sanctuary's pretty good. Wonder what they get back. I wonder if it is Fry, or if it's something like Ponder or Brainstorm. I don't think you worry about the Force because of the Vial, unless you have an answer to the Vial. Brainstorm, okay. More than fine. Replay Uro. Triggers do happen. True love is out there. I don't know why that came up. Uro a tough one, because obviously Caracas is really nice just to keep it from attacking, but it's not the greatest answer because it gains him 3 life and draws a card every time it comes down, so... I do need to find an answer to it at some stage. They didn't have a land in hand. That's pretty crazy. Interesting that they didn't ponder just in case they only found either nothing that they wanted and drew into a land, or found what they wanted and had a land on top. He chose to shuffle again. Okay. Another ponder. Chose to shuffle. The question is, do I want to sorcery speed the vial next turn? And I think I do. What do we draw? That's a big one. Definitely tick this up. Okay, that's interesting as well. Because now I actually get to see their hand as well, which is nice. So I'm pretty happy to go ahead and surgical first. I could name 5 if I really wanted to with Prelate to stop Force of Will, but I think this is fine. If they want to force this, we have the Karakas ready as well. They're going to force it. Okay. I think just not to lose to Show and Tell, I just want to put Prelate on 3 here. And then this Wasteland really isn't doing anything more than being just a waste, so I am going to go after the Mystic. And then take them off 1 green next turn. I think if I tap down the red, they probably have a removal spell for it, so... Ah, I meant to click the green. I don't want to use the red because they most likely... Yeah, okay. Well, that's kind of nice. Prelate on 11? What does Prelate on 11 stop? How much is Omniscience? Is it 3 and 8? I think it is 3 and 8. I probably don't want to be attacking either with the Prelate into something like Ice-Fang Coatl. I think the 11 was a joke for Omniscience. Hardcast Omni. Wow, nothing. Okay. That is fine. This is going nowhere. I'm probably happy to draw a land here and just keep porting my opponent. I don't believe I want to trade the Prelate for an Ice-Fang or even Apparition and Ice-Fang. I can get to a stage where I can take them off double forest as well and then attack pretty well. Impulse. Okay. Hey Kath, welcome. Evening from Australia. I hope you're well in Germany. I think I'm happy to keep the Prelate in my hand in case they try to remove this Prelate on 3. That's really how I lose this game. Brainstorm's fine. Because if they have like another Fry and try to Fry the Prelate, that obviously means they have some sort of game-winning spell in either Intuition or Show and Tell, and I really just want to keep that off. Prelate on 2 is another option? Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, these decks definitely became a lot slower, that's for sure. And they're just going to pass back. Interesting. I probably don't mind putting in Prelate here, taking out the library and then just having a 2/2 beater. It at least puts pressure on my opponent to actually start committing to the board. I don't just want to sit here. Put this on the stack. We also have a huge time advantage as well, which isn't a great way to try to win a game, but it is something that's relevant. Palace Jail is pretty huge. I actually don't mind... I could tap down the Forest here to see if they respond with Ice Fang, but I think I'm happy just attacking with this Skyclave. They're going to try to do something here. Double mana at instant speed. I guess the one card that I can't really beat with my Prelate line is Echoing Truth. Because if I try to put in the Prelate in response to removal, then Echoing Truth just puts them both back into my hand, which means that they just get to cast Show and Tell anyway, so it has to be a solid removal spell. 3 mana. What is this? It can't be 3 because of Prelate. Yeah, okay. Definitely attacking just with the Ice Fang. Oh, with the Skyclave. Prelate on 2 stops Echoing Truth? That's very true. I'm happy for the block. That's okay. Now I'm happy just to tap down one of their forests. It doesn't stop Ice Fang because it does. It says only non-creature, but it does stop Frightened Impulse. Three mana. Ruro. Okay, this is fine. Stops additional libraries, yeah. I think libraries I'm fine with, and with 2 Fries in the bin and 2 Intuition, I assume that's it. I assume there's only a 2 and 2 split. So unless I see like another Mystic Sanctuary targeting one of them, and I really want to save something, then I can do it. But I think for now that I'm pretty happy just to hold this back, and probably even just keep the Violet 3 here. Not even cast the Jailer, but there is some thought to it. But I've been pretty impressed, Intuition going to the bin, with how well this Prelate's done. This deck has been really dirtily in Game 2. Has cast a bunch of spells, but just can't catch a break. Ice Fang's okay. Why not Prelate on 4? I really just want to keep the Prelate around for 3 in case the other one dies, because I can only think of... This seems like an OmniTell deck, not so much like a sneak attack version, so I'm only scared of Show and Tell. I'm tapping the Caracas because I'm not too scared of an Uro yet. I haven't seen one come into play, and until one sticks, I won't return it. Yeah, they just couldn't get out of it. Interesting. I mean, Caracas just doing so much work there. Really keeping any of their Uros from doing anything whatsoever. Yeah, thankfully, although it was a mold of 4, it just lined up really well. Where, I mean, the turn 1 Vial... Was it a turn 1 Vial? Yeah, turn 1 Vial got forced, so put them down a card. And then the Caracas really put them off everything else. Yeah, maybe I should have been more weary of Eureka. But, yeah, I guess my thought was Prelate on 3 does stop the namesake of the deck, or somewhat. And then it's holding up the other Prelate for 3 in response to like another Fry or something like Lightning Bolt is a pretty good way to make sure that I can't lose to Show and Tell. Hey Marius. Yeah, I get that feeling sometimes. There's no better feeling than, you know, drawing green signs when you have access to 6 mana. You're like, ooh, what can I get? Splashing Bread is Sneak. Okay, interesting. Gideon MTG. I wonder if this is Death and Taxes. Whew. I don't mind this hand. It's a little bit high, but I would really like this plane to be something else, but definitely interesting. We already have the Jide, so we can go for Batterskull early on. I'm pretty happy to see where this hand goes. Delta. Preordain, okay. Most likely a combo deck, but could be a maybe blue-red Delver with Pyromancer. Port, okay. I'm going to assume this is perhaps some sort of Storm deck. Which is pretty rough, because taking Thalia here really opens this deck up to being combat out pretty quickly. But just a Thoughtseize. Interesting. I'm going to play the Port here, because if my opponent plays... I guess it doesn't really matter, because I'm holding up Stoneforge next turn. But there might be a case where I want to play the Caracas. Hey JVC, welcome. I hope you're well. This is interesting. I actually don't mind sort of Fire and Ice here. So Batterskull is 5 a turn from turn 4. It also gains life. It's also quite good against Empty the Warrens, but I assume they go for a different line. I think it is just Sword and try to draw into something and hope my opponent fades for a few turns. Happy just a 6. I guess they could also be like on ninjas. Wishclaw, okay. Probably not on ninjas. If they play Wishclaw, they have a mana open. Probably thinking about how they're going to go off this turn. Batterskull life gain can be relevant, but I also have that 4 life in Jide as well, if I want, because I can gain 4 from each swing. They're going to pass. Interesting. Swords. Okay. This is tough because the Port is obviously diluted a little bit by Wishclaw Talisman because they can just use the 1 to search with. But if they didn't search last time, I assume they don't know what they want yet, so... I probably don't mind just holding up Sword here. Because I don't think the port does enough. It also means that next turn, if there is a next turn, we do get to attack. And we also get a land drop, so we can draw into Thalia, which is pretty nice. Ah, Dark Cloud, I have something to tell you, and it's horrible. But tomorrow night, being the first Wednesday of the month, is Highlander at Good Games up in Malkavat. So I do have a line. If my opponent goes for lethal at 20, I do have Swords my own Stoneforge in response. And quick question for MTGO users. Is there a way to show storm count, or does it just show up sometimes? I think it's not too bad. A lot of our hate does resolve around 2, but... Dress. Well... I think I just let them take it. Hey, Baby Bite. Yeah, I would say Sarah is a huge flex spot. Huge flex spot. It is just a pretty vanilla 3/3 compared to other creatures you could be playing, like more Spirited Labyrinth. But I really like it. I think it's pretty good right now. The in the air ability has been pretty strong. Alright, they're gonna add Nors. They've already hit a Dark Ritual, an LED, and an Infernal Tutor. And a Cabal. So they have all the mana in the world. I guess the one nice thing is that Mindbreak Trap does get around Veil of Summer. Because it exiles the spell, it doesn't counter it. Nice. So we have a few cards to bring in. I do like these. I do like these. I do like this. I don't like the swords. I'm not the biggest fan of the Jailer. Skyclaves can most likely come out. There is some thought to keeping in a Skyclave because being a Thalia deck, they usually play their LEDs or Lotus Petals out a little bit. But I do like, yeah, maybe keeping in one Skyclave as just a Tutor effect. And just going with this. This is a pretty neat changeover. Mum's still relevant. Vial. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with all of this. Wisp is interesting. Wisp can have, like, it is a beater at least. It can allow me to reset with Revoker if I want to. I don't think Swords is where I want to be. I think if I'm swordsing my own creature, I'm in a pretty tough time. I think this is a pretty solid switch. Unfortunately, this is just a really fair hand. I'd probably keep this in the blind in a game 1, but I think here I definitely want to mulligan a little bit aggressively. Okay. Still not the greatest. I assume my opponent keeps in Thoughtseize, so I do want to have multiple. Okay. I guess a rip makes it harder for my opponent to do anything, but at the same time, this hand doesn't do a whole lot. Yeah, maybe the 6 wasn't bad. It was just a bit slow based on a Thoughtseize. Yeah, maybe it was a keep. I'm gonna go down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. This is actually kind of a nice hand because it allows me to play around Massacre. But now we're just dead to Thoughtseers. So yeah, maybe the 6 I should just put some more time into, to be fair. There it is. At least we get to Wasteland here, which is nice. There's not too many 3-drops I care about, so having Flagstones around for another card is more than fine. I could also just port this turn, which is probably better in case I draw into something else. Like a Prelate. Hey, Norway. I was actually a D&T player before Maverick, so tell it how you want. I guess Port gives away what I was on, so I might as well pass here. Probably happy to Rackus. Chose not to shuffle. I think I want to Wasteland the Black Source and port down the Underground Sea, but it's definitely interesting. Hey, Rytron. Yeah, Jack can definitely help you. Both the Black Sources, sorry, yeah. I guess because of, I guess Brainstorm, they have instant speed, but otherwise, not too much. 1 second. H? Hey. Yeah, I think I like Wasteland Underground Sea as well, but Bayou does take them off a lot of removal if I draw into something like Thalia or this one Canonist or Prelate down the line. Then taking them off the green source for something like Abrupt Decay or Fatal Push is, or Abrupt Decay or really just Decay. But if chat says C, chat says C. They can instant off it, that is correct. Okay. The question is that better than porting this turn? I think it is, because I'd hate to like get this duressed or something. I'd rather just have this in play. But the only reason that I'd like to keep it is that I still have the line of port, and then maybe my opponent builds a little bit more towards their graveyard to go off the following turn. Wishclaw is okay. Prelate, okay. So this is pretty interesting. I could Prelate for 4, which turns off Tendrils, Empty the Warrens, etc. It depends on their removal, but Prelate on 2 does stop Abrupt Decay and Echoing Truth. Prelate on 1 stops Fatal Push, Chain of Vapor. I think Prelate on 2 is fine, yeah. I don't think I'm in a position where I can just Prelate for 4 and know that I have it. I think that 2 is fine. Yeah, unfortunately they have the Wishclaw already, but if they want to find removal for it of the Wishclaw, they have to do it in their turn and then allow us to get it back. Yeah, clear, that's a great point. If I do name 4, they could just maybe go for Adnors and then find a removal spell. Okay. It'll be interesting to see what they have. I'm going to quickly look at MTG Goldfish and look at Ant and see what removal they usually have. Ponder, okay. What does Ponder do? Decay and Chain, nice. Have I tried out humans in Legacy? I sure have. Speaking of which, I recently did a video on my YouTube channel as a donation deck list and played some humans, which you can find here. Yeah, humans I have a lot of time for. I think humans is a really underplayed deck in Legacy. Definitely, again, some advantages and disadvantages compared to Death and Taxes and Maverick as like a fair creature-based deck, but really fun. Really enjoyable to play. And new Rick, spoilers, is very good in the deck. I got to trade... actually, I got to attack with a Champion of the Parish and make a Grizzlebrand block without gaining life. Huge. Huge. Pretty sure it was a 9/9. 9/9 first strike vigilance. Good feeling to say the least. If Uro was a human, it would just say, when it comes into play, gain 3 life, draw a card. But Uro is a god, so Uro gets a lot more text than that. Opponent thinking pretty hard about this Ponder, which is pretty interesting. Back in a sec. Hey, Mighty Penguin, thank you. Yeah, Baby Bite, 100%. Champion of the Parish is either... It's usually Feast or Famine. It's usually really good or just a little bit too fair. But there are a lot of players who think they can answer it, and then they don't come into consideration of something like Thalia's Lieutenant, which adds 2 counters to it at the same time instead of just 1. Riverboa? Haha! Riverboa is a good one. Hey, Punishing Waterfalls. During the decklist dump downtime, I 5-0'd with aggro humans and Yorion Recruiter humans. Very cool. Actually, yeah, Yorion Recruiter human sounds very cool, especially on MTGO. I'm not a big fan of 80 card decks that I have to shuffle, but online I'm a huge fan of Yorion decks. Especially humans, because there are a lot of ETB effects. They chose to not shuffle. Okay, that's a little bit scary. Flicker Wisp. I guess we can flick a Talisman, right? And then it comes back with 0? No. Comes into play with 3 on it. Okay. I think the players probably just flicker with my own port, play the Caracas, then port on their turn. I don't think I want to rename with prelate here. Gonna go up to their Bayou. They're not gonna use it for their Wish Claw. Interesting. Brainstorm. I definitely feel like this is a brainstorm to find that one card to go off, but you never know. Flicker Wisp also relevant here because it turns the clock into a 3-turn clock, which is a lot better than an 8-turn clock. I'd love to go back to like the Reddit or the source spoiler for Rest in Peace and see what people said about it in Legacy. A lot of really good cards in Return to Rav. Obviously, Abrupt Decay and Deathrite Shaman. Rest in Peace, another very good one. I'm trying to think of other Return to Ravnica cards that have seen Legacy play. Niv Magus Elemental is a card. Blue Martyr, definitely. Hey, Epically. Very cool to hear about Eternal Masters in Melbourne this year. I believe on the weekend of June 11th until the 14th. Fire Minds Foresight, Shade of Hades, very nice. Supreme Verdict, perfect, yes. Big one as well. Supreme Verdict is a great choice. Deathrite Shaman, Jack, we said that. Decay, we said that. Come on, Jack. Come on now. Golgari Charm, there we go, perfect. You're back on board. Oh, actually, Matt Soul's been doing really well. I think it's Matt Soul with a Lotlet Troll list. Yeah, this is it here. This is a sweet list. So this is like a pretty much like a Vengevine list that's also playing Sylvan Safekeeper, Putrid Imp, which sees playing the Jund match in the Jund versions, but also Lotlet Troll. And Matt Soul's been doing really well with it recently, so that's very cool to see. Opponent having a good think with 6 cards in hand. I probably wouldn't even mind a Wasteland or another Port on my next draw step. I do think, although I have 2 pieces of Disruption for now, I do need to get in a position where I can apply some more pressure. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. Doesn't get much better than that. I think honestly we just hit this. Oh, they have tendrils. So what do we do here? I believe we let Storm resolve, and then we target everything with Mindbreak Trap. Is this targeting? I can't tell. Okay, there we go. Yay! Nice. Okay. Alright. Classic. I think we just send this back. I don't think there's anything I really need. Pretty happy with it. Yeah, pretty nice on a Molder 4. I think this is fine. I just need to make sure that I'm really thinking about these hands, because like this is a pretty nice hand. We have from turn 0 interaction in Surgical, we have Canonist on turn 2, we have Recruiter to go and fetch something like Prelate or Thalia. I think this is a fine hand to keep. I also have Caracas, so I can play around Massacre if I really want to. I'm pretty happy to keep this. Sure. Probably taking the Canonist. I think Surgical's a little bit easier to play around once you know about it. Wouldn't mind a Wasteland here. Prelate, okay. Ooh, just a 1-lander. Wait, surely not. Wow, okay. Interesting. Well, if this happens again, we're definitely going Prelate for 1 first. They have 1 draw step. Yeah, I think just because they are behind on mana here, I do want to see if we can Prelate on 1 and then Prelate on 2. But Prelate on 4 is also interesting because it turns off Massacre as well as other wins, but yeah, Massacre's the only concern that I have. Opponent having a really good think. Wow. Okay. Well then. We drew Vile, but I think here I do just want to Prelate for 1. And then Prelate for 2. But it's obviously pretty interesting because if Recruiter of the Guard gets Thalia, it obviously makes their cantrips and rituals a lot worse. I don't even mind Surgical on Misty just to see what they have. That'll give us a better understanding of their hand. Also taking those lands out of their deck is pretty huge. Even pre-lead for 0 is pretty interesting, because I don't really have a great way of hitting both Lotus Petal and LED, but I do in this instance, seeing that they've missed land drops. They haven't played any cantrips yet. I'm more than happy to name one here, and then probably have a better thought about the second one, based on what we see in their hand, and if they find a land next turn or not. I'm gonna guess it's a number of maybe not even a number of rituals. Maybe a number of Cabal rituals, and like a Wish Claw. Maybe 2 Cabals and a Wish Claw, and then maybe a removal spell. That's 4 cards. How do they win if we prelate on 1 and 4? I assume they might have something like Echoing Truth or Abrupt Decay. Hey Snipehawk, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. Hey Mighty Penguin. Considering selling excess Legacy decks purely because I play Maverick and Burn for funsies. Yeah, I think it's definitely tough, especially as decks get more expensive. It is nice to sell them off, especially if you're not using them. I do have a few decks that I do lend out, but as much as I love having lender decks, they don't get used as often as I would like. Alright. Didn't even get to see. Didn't even get to see. But yeah, I think it's definitely up to you. If you want the money, it's always nice to have the money on hand instead of just having cards. It's also nice to be in a position where you can sell cards on your own terms instead of having to be in a position where you have to sell the cards to get money. Yeah, I think that's the exact issue with me, Mighty Penguin. I think as well with lender decks, there's probably not enough people who actually they either want to play with their own deck and own the deck, or they don't want to borrow a deck that's worth thousands of dollars. But a lot of the players that do play in our locals do have a few decks themselves, so yeah, it's always a tough one. Nice start. Played against some cool decks as well. D&T, always a nice mirror. Played against 4-color. I'm just gonna call it Showen or Omni Uro, and then Ant. How was it 4-color? Maybe it was just RUG. Yeah, Jack, maybe it was just RUG. I always thought they had a black source, but maybe I'm just thinking of the Bayou in that last game. DJ Isma. Okay. Good luck to my opponent. High Tide? High Tide is interesting. Yeah, this is a no for me, dog. This is, yeah. Pretty happy to mulligan this. Drawing one more land in my first 10 turns, I'd be pretty unhappy, so. I am nowhere near the top, new top D&T player, but I do enjoy the deck. Yeah, let's mulligan this. Let's keep this. Now this is an interesting one. I actually don't mind bottoming the second Recruiter. And then making sure that I have both Vial, but also 3 mana to cast my spells if needed. Especially to have Recruiter and Wisp, I kind of have a second version of Recruiter if needed. Okay. If this is mono red, it's not the worst. Chalice does stop the Vial, but Flicker Wisp stops the Chalice, which is nice. Blood Sun is more than fine, thankfully. Cool. Do they have a good backup? Maybe like Khan? Chandra? Oh. Oh. Rebel Master. Okay. It's definitely a clock. Even like a Thalia here would be pretty nice. A Thalia off the top would be great. Plains isn't really where I want to be. All lands lose all abilities except mana abilities? Okay. Rebel Master unanswered is very tough to beat. But thankfully Wisp is okay in this position. I probably also don't mind Recruiter for Stoneforge Mystic. We'll see how this turn plays out. Thought-Knot. Thought-Knot's huge. Yeah, I think D&T is a really good matchup, but this aggressive start is really good against how our hands played out. Alright, definitely taking this up. I probably just need to play Flicker Wisp here, unfortunately. And I'm actually thinking about flickering the Chrome Mox. If we do get to block, I'm thinking of like Bone Crusher Giant as a way to get rid of Flicker Wisp, but if we do get to block the Rebel Master, that's nice. But if I can keep them off, they haven't drawn a land yet, so... I think hitting the Mox is better than hitting a 1/1. Other goblin creatures you control attack each turn, yeah. So I'll be taking 7 next turn at least, which is pretty nuts. I could hit Thought-Knots here and try to draw into a 2-drop, but if I don't, it's pretty tough. It's definitely a consideration. We have a pretty high number of 2-drops. The only issue is that Stoneforge is also in that slot as a 4-of, and it's not really something that I want to draw into and then have Thought-Knot either take what I get or just not get anything. Yeah, maybe it is just a free draw. Maybe that is where I have to go for this. Yeah. Yeah, it could be the land as well, Shadow Skull. Charles for 1. I believe we're just dead. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah. We're at 1, okay. Might as well take the draw. Okay. Haylin Chalice, welcome. It's going okay. It is going okay. Prelate is really nice on 4, stopping things like Chandra Khan and Fiery Confluence. If they are playing the extra Khan, oh, so the 4-mana Chandra. I'm not sure if they just play the new one. I do like the Council's Judgments. I do like the Gideon. Gideon actually pretty interesting. Maybe Gideon's a maybe. The extra path is also interesting, but I think we have enough ways to deal with things like the Goblin that I'm not too scared of it. I will take out the Spirit. I really like the Serras in this matchup. Mums are fine. Revoker's still fine. Jailer's an interesting one. It's probably nice to have removal via Recruiter of the Guard, but they can go wide pretty early on, that it can be a little bit awkward. Even though they're on Chalice, I'm not a big fan of shaving any 1-drops, just because of how good their Goblin starts can be. I want to make sure I have the 4 swords in the deck. It could be a case of the second Prelate not being as great as it is. Two cards. I could also see like a Trim. I don't believe they have any haste creatures, which is nice for Jailer. But I think just having Jailer in the deck's really solid. Yeah, I'm thinking of cutting a Thalia. Especially as I am bringing in some amount of non-creature hate. And then I could see myself cutting a land. But I don't really want to go down to 22 lands when I'm playing Skyclave. It might just be the second Prelate. It might just be the second Prelate. I think 1 Prelate and 2 Recruiters is fine. This hand is pretty good. I'll keep this. Turn 1 Vial, turn 2 Thalia, and then we have double Skyclave. And also a Batterskull if we get to the mana, or draw a Stoneforge Mystic early on. Getting the Vial down under Chalice is pretty nice. I'm not sure if they skimp on them in game 2 on the draw. But definitely something to consider. They play a Chalice now, that's fine. And Ancient Tomb is a great hit for the Rishon import. Nice. That's pretty perfect. Nice. Untap, put this up. Yes. Wasteland? Flagstones. Okay. Land, pass. Upkeep. Tap down a tomb. They don't float, so now I'm pretty happy to put in Thalia. And 6. Temple. Thought Not is fine because we have double Skyclave. I assume that it's take the Batterskull here. They take 1 Skyclave. Interesting. Definitely ticking this up. Wasteland? Caracas. Okay. I probably want to draw here in case I draw into Wasteland. This also allows me to attack this turn as well. Swords. Okay, not as great with the Chalice out, but let's play Caracas. Attack for 2. And then I probably just want to tap down the Eldrazi Temple and make them keep paying 2 life for their tombs. I don't think I get too punished for tapping down the Temple here instead of the Ancient Tomb. I don't expect something like Walking Ballista, so I think this is fine. Six mana. Smash is pretty good. We can't currently deal with it because of the Chalice. They don't attack. Interesting. I guess they're at 10, so that does make sense. We're going to keep this at 3. Stoneforge. That's pretty good. That's really nice. Play a land. Stoneforge. I really want to put in the Batterskull, so I think on top of this, it's probably just this sort of Fire and Ice. Jude is interesting though, as What am I really scared of? Like double smasher attack? I don't think it matters. I'm gonna get this Sword of Fire and Ice though. Hey Malamujo and Mishra, a huge thank you for the follows. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Happy here to tap down the City of Traders. Melamujo plays D&T? Very cool. This feels like a... Oh, this is going to be punishing Eldrazi. Interesting. I did not see that coming. A Croatian? Interesting. What is what's Eternal like in Croatia? Or the Magic scene in general? Croatia only has Modern? Okay, close to none. A land is actually pretty good because then we get to Batterskull, but I think here we just go for Recruiter into Palace Jailer. We have a few lines. We could also Recruiter for Skyclave, take out Chalice, and then Swords this. But I think just Palace Jailer is best. Because even if they attack with something and get the Monarch, I don't see them winning on the swing back. So I think Jailer here is more than acceptable. Yeah. Because even if they have a Goblin Rebel Master and attack with a 1/1, we have the Palace Jailer. And we're attacking for 5 this turn. Yeah, I think this is fine. Hey True Hero, a huge thank you for the raid. Very nice of you. I hope you're well. Welcome all of those from True Heroes stream. My name is Dukes on Twitch. I stream FedEx. I run the greensundinners.com. I think I'm only a few followers. I am 8 followers away from 2,000, which would be very cool to hit. So if you do like some fair magic, let me know. I think knowing that this is punishing Fire Mav, I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I think I like the Gideon and the Path a little bit more. The Cataclysms are also interesting, but I don't think I want to go that deep. The Mums are obviously interesting, great against the Goblins and the Sweepers and Punishing Fire, but not great against Thought-Knot and Reality Smasher. I do want the extra path. I am going to go down on the Thalias here. I might even cut all my Thalias. That's interesting. And then I could see Gideon. And Prelate. I mean, Prelate for 2 is really good as well if they do have Punishing Fire online. So, I'm going to see how this goes. This is a stacked hand, but obviously it's pretty poor against Chalice. I think as well it just relies on the Vial too much that I can't keep this, because this hand really rewards me for hitting my land drops and I just can't afford to, you know, knock on the top of my deck and hope. So, I'm gonna mulligan this. Yeah, okay. Pretty happy to keep this and probably bottom 1 Mum. Yeah, hand is a big trap. I think bottoming 1 Mum is fine. And I think what I want to try to do is just see if they go turn 1 Chalice off of Ancient Tomb and probably waste it. Opponent's on 7. They play a land tapped and pass. Okay. So they could Spirit Guide into a Thought-Knot next turn, but otherwise it's looking pretty good. I think I want to keep the Wasteland for a Soul Land, so I'm pretty happy to go turn 1 Mum. Plays around Chalice as well, which is nice. Also getting her online as soon as possible is always an upside, so I think this is going to be okay. Mountain. A pretty fair start so far. Punishing Fire. Okay. Plains. Huh. I wonder where they cap. This is turn 2. So still a few more turns before Serra Avenger. I think I kind of have to get this Recruiter down, so I don't mind just going land pass. You want to waste them? It's definitely interesting. I feel like if my opponent kept this hand, they kept a 2-land into Soul Land Thought Knot. The issue is if they have something like Soul Land into Grabbelmaster, that's a really nice start. And we don't have a great hand to deal with that. I think, yeah. I think I'm okay with putting them back a little bit here. And getting to a stage where I can either draw into removal. Grove is fine. And Chalice, please? I kind of hope it's a Chalice. Nice, okay. Recruiter, okay. Still can't cast this. There's a city. This definitely feels like Thought Knot. If they Thought Knot and take the Serra Avenger, we can Recruiter for probably Jailer. Although they have Punishing Fire online, I think that Jailer is just good enough. They go Revoker. Interesting. I wonder what they name. Sort of Fire and Ice. Interesting. Prelate. I don't mind Prelate for 2 here to turn off the Punishing Fire. But I also don't mind getting down the Serra Avenger. I can't 2-spell next turn because I can't draw a 2-drop and a land next turn. This is a Punishing Fire Eldrazi deck. So it pretty much, if you think of Mono-Red Prison, but remove some of the like Ensnaring Bridges and Trinispheres, I believe, etc., and add in Thought Knots and Reality Smashes, and then also Punishing Fire. Yeah, okay, I don't mind Serra Avenger here. I'm definitely not blocking the Revoker, because then they can kill the Serra Avenger with Punishing Fire. Yeah, it's not a deck you see too often, but obviously this player really enjoys it, which is cool. And it does have a lot of game against a lot of decks. They didn't attack. I think attacking's kind of free. Swords. Okay. Let's attack first. And then I think Recruiter for a Flicker Wisp is fine. I could also Prelate first to turn off Punishing Fire, and I actually like that play. This also turns off Stomp from Bone Crusher Giant, if that's played in this deck. Seems like kind of a cool fit. Oh, they didn't pick up Punishing Fire? Interesting. I'm just going to 6 this turn because we can't do anything. Thought Knot is fine. He has it foiled out in paper? Very cool. Wasteland would be pretty good here. Plains. Alright, we get to attack first. Dedication. Thanks you. That's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. Haha, that's very cool. I'll have to find him on Twitter. I think here we're going for a Recruiter into Palace Jailer. We could also Recruit it into Flickerwisp because it's also another aerial attack, which I don't mind. But I do like Recruiter is also a nice out to just smash it off the top. But it's also interesting because getting Flickerwisp just gets me more lines as well. Like even Flicker Chalice, and then turn on Swords, pitch the Sword that's already answered by the Phyrexian Revoker. I think I am going to get Flickerwisp here. It just seems like it lines up a little bit too well. I could also get Skyclave Apparition, that's interesting. Huh. I think Flickerwisp is a little bit better because it's aerial. But there's definitely merit to a lot of considerations there. Opponent also has 6 cards in hand. We know one of them is Punishing Fire. Alright. I guess they could have Big Chandra as well. It is Smasher. Okay. I think you attack with the Thought Knot as well. They don't, but I wonder why they don't attack with the Thought Knot. We definitely take this. Planes. So the Flickerwisp in the air with the Serra Avenger is a 2-turn clock. I guess it isn't. It's a 3-turn clock. So the question is what I want to do with this Flickerwisp. And I think it is take out the Chalice, just in case we do run into an issue where we need to use the swords. So let's go with an attack first. No blocks, of course. I think it is just Flickerwisp exile the Chalice because there is a world where I need to use the sword. This also turns off Chrome Mox if that's an issue. Dead. Ooh. Rough. Okay. Yep. Interesting. I wonder if we targeted the Recruiter with Flickerwisp, if they would use it on the Recruiter instead of the Prelate. Dead and Gone is a very cool card. I've definitely seen it in Blue-Red Delver as well. It's a great way to answer Merit Lage. Oh, they couldn't because of Chalice. Yeah, that's very true. They're going to attack with both. Huh. What's the line here? Maybe the line is to take this, end step Swords the Revoker, and then try to get the Sword of Fire and Ice on the Serra Avenger. I don't mind that. I guess to be fair as well, I might as well put both in front to force a Punishing Fire. Because we know the Flickerwisp is going to get Punishing Fired. 100%. So I think a double block is more than fine. if I am going to chump, I might as well put lethal there and make my opponent do something. Alright. Swords Revoker. I should have actually done this. No, it's all good. Okay. Port. I shouldn't have played Port because I probably want to try to draw into Wasteland. But we will equip this. Attack them. Judgment, not the worst. Alright. What do you got, opponent? What have you got? Oh, Simian Spirit Guide. Smasher. Okay, that's fine. This is fine. Move to blocks. Block here. Nice. Nice. Yes. Oh, that was a nice... That was a really cool game. Big fan of that. There we go. Hype. Hype. Keep it going. Nice. Very cool. Oh, nice. All right. Sarah Avenger pulling its weight. Not a card that I traditionally would like to include. I hate the card, but Sarah Avenger just does work that other cards don't do. Hey, Untitled Username, thanks for the follow. You let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Yeah, Sarah was really strong that game. I know you're a fan, Jack. But yeah, I've just really enjoyed it. Especially once Oko was gone, a lot of my local metagame moved towards True Name and Young Pyromancer. Yeah, Damer, I'm 100% with you. I definitely didn't like it for a long time because it's just a beater. But sometimes you just need an evasive beater. That's what you need. Oh wow, was that cheap? Damn. Interesting. But hey, a huge thank you to True Name for the raid and to every one of you watching. It's always nice to come back to Death and Taxes. If you do want to find any of my content, you can find it on my YouTube channel. I usually play a lot of fair decks, so Maverick, Death and Taxes, Loam, Humans. That was, yeah, really nice to get. Right. Pinkie Pie, we're on the play, which is nice. And we have a pretty unacceptable hand. I will mulligan this. And another pretty rough hand. Definitely not a hand where you want Sarah Avenger, but at the same time, I have an abundance of lands. I can cast my spells that I want, so I can cast the spells that I draw into, so I'm pretty happy with keeping this over a 5, but True Hero, Nathan. Avenger looking slick here. Yeah. There is a thought that there's a 5 with like Vial and Stoneforge or Recruiter that's a little bit better, but I definitely can't guarantee that. I think I'm happy just to keep this. Drop the Caracas and pass. It technically does have a turn 2 play. Pox will be interesting, and probably a great way to, a great reason not to go down on cards. Interesting, Hideaway. Okay. Another port isn't the worst. Yeah, definitely very interesting. Kind of gives away with the deck, but that is fine. I would love to see a Vial here. We don't see a Vial. What do I want to do this turn? I don't really want to get the Flicker Wisp into play just yet. I probably don't mind losing the Karakas, but if I draw into Thalia, I kind of want to have a play that saves her from like a sack effect. So I think it's just second port here, because second port is probably the land I'm more willing to get rid of. It could also be Plains, because it is a second white source, but we have that in Karakas. Wisp their land. They do just get a new card from that. I think I'm happy to play Plains and pass. And if they have something like Scroll Rack in the main deck, I can maybe steal that with Skyclave. Not Scroll Rack, sorry, Curse Scroll. But I guess we'll see here. Him to Turak would be pretty good for my opponent, yeah. I keep the Saravenger, okay. So I get a creature I can cast. Another port. I feel like my opponent on 7 cards is going to be doing a lot here. Especially if they have like a Lily here. That'd be pretty devastating. Or even a Smallpox. Him relevant as well. Hey Dizzy, welcome. I think just because of this, I'm happy to not discard or not play this, but I do get punished if I have to discard this to like a Liliana and then I draw into a Batterskull. But I think I'm happy to take that, especially if it forces like an Inquisition or Thoughtseize. If I can get an Inquisition or Thoughtseize, I'd be pretty happy. Smallpox. Okay. At this stage, I'd probably rather lose a port than a second white source. Nether Spirit. Okay. And they do play Curse Scroll. Okay. That is a play. I think casting this is better than allowing them to have this. So if I tap down a Swamp, they probably just use it to activate this. If I tap down this, they probably just activate it. So I don't think there's a way around it. But I might as well use it. Use my port. Interesting. Maybe they want to use the Curse Scroll to kill the Mother. Curse Scroll doesn't really care about Mother either, because it is a colorless source. Wasteland's pretty good. Yeah, we looked at very dead. We were very dead when my opponent had 7 cards in hand and we had 1 card in hand. But we will prevail. Oh, Revoke is actually a... I did 6 there, unfortunately. We'll concede. We'll concede there. Pox is going to be interesting. I like Gideon. I like the Judgments for Planeswalkers. I don't mind the Canonists, but that's pretty interesting. I don't like the Spirit. The Serra Avengers are interesting. It is a threat that doesn't die to something like Last Hope, but I don't think I can afford to keep it. These 3 are good. Prelate's probably good enough. Yeah, I'll definitely cut some number of swords. Rest in Peace is interesting as well, seeing they played Nether Spirit, but I'm going to assume they have other things. I do like Canonist. It might just be something like this with Serra Avenger. Feels like we brought in Prelate in every game. Yeah, pretty much, except for Death and Taxes. I think Jit's still okay. It can make sure that my creatures are always going to be threats if it hits at least once. And I assume my opponent actually plays Mishra's Workshop as a land. Mishra's Factory, sorry. Mishra's... Do not rock up to a Legacy tournament with Mishra's Workshop in your deck. This is actually 60 anyway. I think this is fine. I'd love to play first. This hand's fantastic. I'll keep this. Batterskull's a pretty easy discard, and then we have a great way to manipulate our opponent's mana and start with a Vial, so I'm pretty happy about that. Let's go with Port into Vial. They could have brought in like Pithing Needle. I'm not too sure what else they have as a great way to hit our mana or hit our Vials. Nothing. Okay, that's huge because now we get Thalia down. Judgment. Okay. So this is actually pretty interesting. They don't have a turn 1 play. So I could port them, which technically would put them in the exact same position next turn unless they draw a 1-mana spell. And the upside of that is that I get to untap and then play Thalia with Karakas open. Here I lose the Thalia to Innocent Blood. That's about it, but I think Thalia puts on enough pressure that I'm happy to play around Innocent Blood for 1 turn, maybe even Fatal Push out of the board, and play the Thalia. Hey Saito, welcome. I could definitely wait to have Karakas as well, but hopefully this is good enough. Okay. Definitely tick this up. Recruiter, okay. That's actually pretty interesting. I definitely don't mind playing Recruiter, but I'm not sure what I want. I kind of want Flicker Wisp, but I also don't want to lose the Recruiter to something like a Liliana. I don't mind another Thalia, yeah. I think Port into Recruiter into Thalia is fine. Recruiting for Thalia and Scoop to Engineer. Yeah, that's actually a pretty big thought. The other play is getting Stoneforge and turning on Batterskull in my hand. Yeah, I don't mind this. Yeah, I kind of forgot about Plague Engineer for 1 turn. I probably want to get sort of Fire and Ice to start drawing some cards. There's a thought that even end-step Stoneforge into untapped player land, put in sword, attack with sword is better than putting in Batterskull. They play him. I think I just want to play the Stoneforge here. Get sort of Fire and Ice and then just hope that him doesn't hit both artifacts. Can we have some prayers in chat, please? Ah! Ah, yes. Yes, opponent. Oh my god. Look, we still have threats on board. Can't be too unhappy. Can't be too unhappy. That's definitely hindsight, Nathan. We had a pretty good plan, and it didn't work out. I'm gonna put this up to 3 because we can either double port or play a 2-drop that we draw. So, well, there's Thalia. That's actually pretty interesting. That's actually pretty good. I could really stifle their mana if we get to untap, because I got nearly have double port and wasteland, which is pretty huge. But I mean, land into a Plague Engineer here is just huge. I don't want a 6 either. I want to show that we might have something like Skyclave or Flicker Wisp. Rough. We have Vial for Council's Judgment. We do have Vial for Council's Judgment. Yikes. Nether Spirit. That is more than fine. Can we draw a land? Let's keep this at 3. Prelate. Okay. Prelate's pretty good as well. Yikes, it's a 2-2. I guess it's a free block. That's true. What do I want to do here? I think I just want to prelate for 2. Prelate for 1 is also pretty interesting. What did I bring in? Prelate for 3? I think because we have... I guess prelate for 3... Because of Thalia, I'm not too scared about it right now. Because we currently have double port, which puts them on 2 mana. Yeah, it sadly doesn't hit Plague Engineer, but I think that's okay. So we put in the prelate. I guess 1 taxes them if they don't draw into a land. Yeah, I think 2 is best. And then just passing. Probably try to take them off double black as well. There is some thought to take them off the Mishra's Factory for our turn. But I think trying to take them off black as much as possible is okay. Dead drop would be pretty good. Curse Scroll. It's pretty good. Especially if we don't draw a white source here. dodge. This is actually really annoying. Okay. I do want to get the Jit, but it's tough because I do want to keep my opponent off as much as possible. And something like Prelate, something like a 3-drop here is pretty big. I want to tap down the castle so they can't hold it open during our turn. Yeah, thankfully they can't him, they can't Smallpox. They can't like Collective Brutality, if that sees play in their 75, but now we're definitely getting closer to 3 being a big issue. But yeah, Pox just hitting their land drops where it counts. Veil's not the worst. I just get to get rid of a Stoneforge here. They're going to make us discard. That's actually pretty interesting. I probably just want to discard the Council's Judgment, because at least the Jide is definitely doing something next turn. Opponent has 1 card left. Alright, what can we draw? Wasteland, okay. That means I can actually cast the Jit and swing with everything except the Prelate, which is nice to put Liliana back down to 1. Oh, it's a 2 mana. Okay, so I actually can't because of Prelate. Yeah, it's a great. Oh, okay. We can attack with everything here. This is actually really nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is put in Jit, equip it to Thalia, and now we get to attack with everything at Liliana to kill it, and we get to shrink the Nether Void if they try to block the Prelate. Yeah, so this actually works out perfectly because now 4 gets through. Nice. So we get triggers, and then before damage, we can make Nether Spirit a 1/1, which means that it doesn't kill the Prelate. Nice. Nice. Okay. I think I want to take them off the Lock Twain here, just to stop them from drawing a card during their turn. Nice. Hey, Minifier. Welcome. I hope you are well. If anyone wants to check out some very good, not just Legacy content, but content in general, definitely check out the Min-Max blog, which you can find here. Three mana. 3 mana's big. Curse Scroll targeting the Prelate. Yep. That definitely happens. Smallpox. Okay, that's not too bad. Smallpox is definitely a card that I don't really care about here. Will they cast it? I guess it means they lose the Nether Spirit, so probably not. Alright. Vial is not ticking up. Plains. That's actually pretty nice, because now we get double port and wasteland. So we get to attack with... I could attack with everything, but I like attacking like this. Seeing if they activate the factory or not. They don't. They block here. Do I want to pump? I think I do want to pump, just to get the clock going. Pump first. Deal first strike. Get my counters. Give the Nether Spirit -1, -1. Yeah, scroll is a huge issue. But hopefully we get to a position where it just doesn't matter. But it is going to be tough. They're going to float mana, so we're going to let them do whatever they want here. They're going to lose it. Alright. They can use it to curse scroll. I guess the one reason that I don't like naming Prelate on 1 for curse scroll is that we have a lot of answers for curse scroll in things like Revoker, Council's Judgment. This is fine. I might as well tap down here, still in draw step or upkeep. Yeah, so we did actually... Oh, that's true. Yeah, we could definitely port draw. Makes a lot of sense. Alright. What do we draw? Port. I guess that means we can hold up Thalia at least. Yeah, Punishing Waterfall. Yeah, that's a really good one. Who was that? Splinter Fight. Very nice. Oh no! Oh no! Massive misclick. Oh no. That's fine. That's fine. It happens. It happens. Hey, Dragostorm, thanks for the follow. A huge thank you. They didn't float. Interesting. Hey, Rick. Welcome. Hey, Camel, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Wasteland pretty strong. Hey, Zajad, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. All of you, a huge thank you. Does that? Ooh, so close. Look at that. Just one more of you. One more follower. One more follower to the 2k. This is gonna happen. Curse Scroll really good here. There we go. Tony, a huge thank you. Welcome, number 2k. Very nice. Very nice. A huge thank you. There we go. Hey, Rorizaza. Thank you very much. Alright. Let's draw something good and win this. Let's draw a Recruiter of the Guard. Do we have one left? Maybe we don't have one left. Stoneforge. That's pretty good. Damn. Hey Tony, a huge thank you for the gifted subs. Very nice. A huge thank you. That's really nice. That is yeah, very much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Nice. Nice. A huge thank you. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Alright, I do need to play the Stoneforge to play around the Smallpox still in hand. But they are getting into a position where they can just do both, which is pretty tough. Nice. Too kind. Too kind. Bob's Mans, Epic Eki, Skullclamp MTG, Odyssey, Sleep Talk. Welcome. Welcome. I believe we have nothing left. Yeah. Maybe the play was actually to... Yeah, I can definitely crack as my own Thalia. Maybe the play for the Smallpox was to keep the Stoneforge Mystic in my hand and then return Thalia so I can discard the Stoneforge, because in play they can actually curse scroll the Stoneforge, which is tough. So I think that was a big one. Yeah, maybe even equipping the Stoneforge was correct. And now they have the Smallpox. Tough. Just little things that I can definitely work on. This is game 2, yeah. Alright. I guess Wisp in the air is kind of lethal. We just have to deal with the Curse Scroll. I think we lost game 1. Yeah, we definitely lost game 1. I'm going to lose a port. I want to have access to double white for something like Gideon. Gideon would be pretty sweet off the top. Skyclave also really nice if I can get into Skyclave territory. Mum. Okay. Mum's not the worst. It is a creature. Opponent has 1 card. What do they have? What you got? Mum is not the worst. Yeah. Shoutouts to mums. Shoutouts to mums. Mums across the world. Do a lot. Do a lot of the hard yards. A lot goes unseen, so if there's any mums in here, shout out to you. Yeah. Shout out to my mum. Yeah. Shout out to my mum. Lovely woman. Very gracious. Opponent having a good think. This is a game that I would love to claw back into. And I feel like chat is here behind me. Tony giving out the gifts, hitting 2k 4-0. It has to line up. Pox can't be the way that we go out of this. Stars align. Yeah, Colgate, that's true. You can sometimes look at the clock, but as well for some of the grindy matchups, like this could still be game 1. Oh, they're gonna go to combat. Okay. Alright, here we go. Opponent not wastelanding the second white source either, which I think is pretty relevant. Oh, so good. The question here is the Nether Spirit the issue? Or is it Curse Scroll? Just scroll. Pump this. Happy to pass. See what they do. 3 mana. Curse Scroll target mum. This deals 2, right? I can just pump once. What do they show? Inquisition. Okay. Pretty happy just to take out the Curse Scroll here, I believe. Alright. Tap down Factory. Tap down Swamp. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have to play for time a little bit as well in case there is a game 3. I don't want to be too rushed. This music is interesting. We're going to change it. Oh, equip Skyclave, get Pro Black GG. Interesting. Interesting. Alright. Let's put this on the stack. See what happens here. Gideon. Okay, that's pretty good as well. I don't mind Emblem. I don't want to take too long here. I think I'm just going to create a 2/2 and then hopefully have lethal next turn. Because now we can attack with both here. They block, we either pump or drop. They block. Oh. Yep, they block. Give this -1/-1. I am going to pump this once. Now the spirit comes back. Nice. Okay. I have 2 minutes to go to the bathroom. I'll be back in a second. Chat, let me know if you would change the boarding in any way. Hopefully you can see it correctly. Ooh. Why Canonist? I think Canonist is there to protect in a way, so they can't go like sack effect or like removal spell sack effect. So like maybe they have, you know, maybe like a, let's say they have Eliminate and they want to try to get rid of the Jailer. It stops them from going sack or Eliminate into that. Canonist seems worse than Avenger. Okay. Yeah, maybe it is. Avenger's interesting because I guess it's obviously very good with Vial, but otherwise, I guess Avenger also gets through Nether Spirit, which is nice. Keep Avenger. One Path over one Rip. Okay. I guess is Path worse? Maybe Path's interesting because I can Path my own creatures if I really need to. Hey Lord, you're welcome. Opponent is on Pox. I think it might just be a Path, but I'm not too sure what I want to drop. Maybe it is the Canonist. Yeah, let's go for Path. I think maybe just having one is okay. But yeah, it's also true, it does stop, it also stops Liliana. I guess Rip also stops Liliana tick down, get back a creature, if they do have anything meaningful to bring back. We haven't seen Dark Ritual yet, so I'm going to assume it's not in the deck. But that is a very good point. 15 seconds. Let's just go with this. Alright. I don't mind this hand. I definitely don't mind it. I think I'm pretty happy to keep it. Turn 1 Port into Vial. I could also keep the Plains in case I get hemmed off both. Yeah, Vial is very nice, so other than like a turn 1 Inquisition or Thoughtseize, I'm pretty happy with this hand. Oh, did I take out Spirit? Oh, I did. I should keep this in, especially seeing they're playing Castle. It is pretty relevant, and it's also just a good beater through Plague Engineer, if they, or when they cast a Plague Engineer, which I assume is in the deck. Opponent chose to mull. We will keep. Dystopia? I would love to see the card Dystopia. Alright. Huge. Huge. I think here we just want a Wasteland though. If we don't draw Vial. Because this also turns on like Mishra's Factory as being a black source as well. Dystopia is a horrible card and no one should play it. Oh, Wasteland pass? That is more than fine. Wow, okay. Come on, 2-drop. Yes! That's the way to get back in this game. So good. Come on. Come on now. I think we just name one here. I think I'm happy just to name one. Maybe it is actually 2. I think 2 puts them a little bit higher. But I think it's 1 because we can port them down next turn anyway. Just to keep them from anything. That Wasteland was so good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I could just slam Jailer here as well. There's so many options. I think it is just slam Jailer. Let's be honest. Just start getting those triggers. Draw some cards. Attack for 4. Oh my gosh. Nice. We can only hope that something good here happens. Nice. Very nice. Yes, Sarah. You're going down. Nice. Massacre would be a blowout if they have Massacre. But it wouldn't kill the Serra Avenger and would keep drawing cards, and then we have Stoneforge and Mum to then trade up. His factory. Wow. Wasteland. Alright. Attack with everything. Pro black. Wasteland your wasteland. I think I'm happy just passing here with Port up. They were Deadeth Mum attacked, yeah, but look at that. There we go. Very nice. Look at that. Very nice. Bow, bow, bow. So good. Oh, that felt nice. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Let's go back to Decktech. Nice. List felt really good. Especially for like just trying to get some play black back with the deck. There wasn't really anything that I missed. That was cool. Still got it. Very nice. That's awesome. Played against some cool decks as well. We played against... let me have a quick think. We played against Ant, Death and Taxes, Punishing Eldrazi, RUG OmniTell, and also Pox. Nice. Yeah, really cool. A huge thank you to everyone who came in and watched. That's yeah, a great feeling. Yeah, really nice to like. Serra Avenger is just a card that I can never get behind, but I just think it's so well positioned right now. I think it does exactly what you want from a beater, and it's just, you know, a solid threat, which is cool. Where would you say there's the most active MTG scene in Australia? That's a good question. I would say from like being vocal, probably Adelaide, Melbourne, or Brisbane. But there's definitely Sydney and Perth-based groups. Brisbane's pretty good. Like, we have an active legacy scene. I know Modern gets about 30 players at our kind of a weekly event, which is pretty good for Australia. Standard, I think, overall is down just because of COVID, of course, but also Arena, and just some of the new sets being a little bit rough, but overall pretty good. Yeah, I'm just really happy to get the 5-0. That feels really nice. Obviously, it's just one league, but I think I'll just keep playing this exact same list. My only thought is Mindbreak Trap, and if it should just be Deafening Silence, and then maybe changing the Canonists to something else like Containment Priest, to just have a little bit more flexibility. But I think for now this does pretty well with what I wanted to achieve, which is nice. Oh, and Tasmania. Apologies. There is definitely one in Tasmania. Why does no one play Grafdigger's Cage? Yeah, Cage is actually a pretty good option as well if you're looking at something for Graveyard Hate that also has something else. I did like Judgment. but there weren't really any times where I wanted it over a Skyclave, like a 4th Skyclave. But I do like having it in the deck. I really like just knowing that I have an answer to something like True Name Nemesis in the 75. But very cool. Very, very cool. Also very cool to break 2K followers. You guys are awesome. This is really cool. We did get the 5-0 Sato-san, which is really awesome. That's the stream. That's it. If you do want to rewatch any of this, you can find me on YouTube. You can subscribe through here. You can find me on Twitter, if you're on Twitter as well. And of course, you can find me at the Green Sun Zenith. If you're wanting to find some good Maverick Death and Taxes content, Phil Gallagher and I did a piece together on the matchup, which you can find here. So enjoy that. I'm going to see who else is streaming quickly and see if we can send a raid over, which would be very cool. But I'll be back on Thursday evening. I should do a socials command, yeah. I kind of like putting out each of them separately, but I can definitely see that. I actually can't see anyone playing Legacy. So if anyone has someone that they want me to raid, definitely speak up. I can actually see that Lana is streaming, who is a streamer from the Gold Coast. So I'm going to send you guys there. Thanks, Boyd. Always a pleasure. Haha, hey, Rain. Yeah, I'm usually up pretty late, but until then, a huge thank you once again. I'll see you next time. Enjoy your week ahead, and hopefully I'll see you on Thursday night. All right, take care. Diddy Muse, Magic Maniacs, thank you very much for the follows. And of course, everyone else who came in and followed. Cheers. Nice.